What are the chances of a white Christmas right here in Indiana? I'm 13 News meteorologist Matt. We're still about 10 days out. What we talk about now will probably be valid for another 3 or 4 days. Once we get to about 6 days out before Christmas, we'll have a much better idea with the current patterns. But we wanted to show you a very early look at what we could possibly see around Christmas time, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Now, right now, there is a signal that there will be some cooler air over the eastern half of the U.S., and especially more towards the Ohio River Valley and into the Great Lakes. This is kind of the setup that we're thinking when it comes to the jet stream right around Christmas Eve. Colder air over the Great Lakes, and we'll have to see if that kind of spins up some snow showers. Of course, we're probably going to get some lake effect snow showers just because the lakes are still very warm for this time of year. So really up in the higher snow belts, there will be some chances for some snow. Although the cold air outbreak, I think the most potent of it will be north towards the Hudson Bay, but we'll get a sliver of that coming into the northern Great Lakes. But here in Indiana, what are we thinking? You probably have seen online all these random posts talking about, I've seen up to about 10 to 12 inches of snow across central Indiana on some of these posts. But let's go ahead and go behind the scenes on some of the data that's about 10 days out for central Indiana, northern Indiana, and southern Indiana on what we're thinking. If we get a pattern like this right around Christmas Eve, there could be maybe a storm system more off towards the East Coast. You really want to be on the southwest to northeast trajectory to produce a larger type of wintry system. But even if this is Christmas Eve, that's already headed to sea. If we get something like that, let's play the scenario out. We get a system that starts in the plains, kind of brushes over the Ozarks, maybe gives us a wintry mix or so. We'll have to see. But if it heads out towards the Atlantic by about Christmas Eve night and a Christmas Day, most likely there will be some colder air and some lake effect snow showers, especially for the northern lake effect snow belts. So for Indiana, it would be a little bit more tough. However, if there's anything on the backside, sometimes you get these little clipper systems that come on through, like we've kind of seen throughout the month of December, where you get a couple dustings or so. That could be probable as well. The only reason why we have some chances are because we're kind of in this colder air pocket. If we were sitting right here in this higher pressure, warmer air, you've shoved the colder air up to the north, the chances would be really, really, really low. They're still on the lower side here at home. You've got to really head north of the state line into Michigan to have some scattered snow chances. Here's a little bit closer of a look. This kind of blue color shows you some slightly colder than normal temperatures and even much colder temperatures with some of that pink. Indiana's mostly in the blue. If we are getting some lake effect snow showers, they would mostly likely be right around South Bend. And you'd get kind of this northwest flow, which could carry even a couple towards Angola or parts of Fort Wayne. There could be a stray flurry or two if you have a setup like this. So let's dive really deep into some numbers. What are our chances just for snow showers in general? This is not necessarily if you're white. So when we're 10 days out, we're looking at things, how many clouds do we have, the temperature profiles, how cold are we? There will be some snow chances when we're looking at some of this data. In fact, we were looking at the Euro model, just to take one in perspective. I would say the GFS and the Canadian are somewhat similar on the overall setup of some cooler air over the Great Lakes and the kind of the mid-Atlantic and northeast. However, what's not as consistent are where the placement of the storms are, different low pressures. So take all that with a grain of salt. But we've looked at all the Euro members, all these different runs, and this is what we've come up with. This is not necessarily sticking or a snow depth. This is just chances for snow showers. Of course, you got to have snow showers in order to have a white Christmas, right? But for Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, or even both, with the chances of snow, there's only about a 36% chance right now. The very northern part of our state, right there towards Notre Dame and South Bend. That will be the highest chance. Chances go lower as you go farther south. We checked all the way to Evansville, and only about 6% of the data suggested that there would be some snow showers in the area. That's really low, meaning there's a 94% chance you don't. But we wanted to just take a look at what are the chances of some snow around Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. Here's the thing. If we get the pattern that we're talking about, even if there are snow chances, they probably would be on the lower side, unless the only way to change that is like we talked about on that northwest flow. If something comes in, a quick clipper system, that would be the way to possibly get a little bit more. And that's the suggestion with some of these higher percentages. So 15% is what we're thinking in Indianapolis. That's really low. 16 in Richmond, 20 in Lafayette. Right now, there's not a huge signal for big blasts of snow across Indiana for Christmas, but the chances aren't zero either. There will be at least a low chance, and we're kind of talking about these different zones. Let's say there's a very low chance for the southern third of Indiana, and then just a low chance, much of central Indiana and north central Indiana. Once you get north, closer to where those lake effect snow belts would be, there's about a medium chance. That's not even guaranteed too, because it really depends on how stiff that northwest wind. If we get Christmas Eve, a couple snow showers, but they don't stick very well, and eventually those cease by Christmas Day, that would leave us to also a low chance. But right now we're going with a medium chance, and we'll be updating this as we get closer. But there's just been a lot of chatter. This is the next big question when it comes to our weather. What's Christmas going to be looking like? Because a lot of folks are posting a lot of just random numbers. For example, if I go back, if you take a look at one piece of data, for example, we looked at 50 members of the Euro, for example. If 6% of those showed some snow in Evansville, someone's posting just the 6% one, one or two of those that showed a little bit of snow, but then it didn't show you the 48 others or whatever the number would be, that it was completely dry. So just wanted to give you kind of a behind the scenes of what that looks like. Now, could that happen? Sure. We'll have to wait till we get a little bit closer, but right now there's a low chance. So on the flip side, on this low chance for much of central Indiana, that would be about a just high chance of nothing, or a very high chance of nothing, or also kind of a 50-50 shot. I mean, it's about 36% right now towards South Bend, but we'll kind of have to see. It's going to have to be a give or take with some of these snow belts. Sometimes the lake effect snow showers really impact more Michigan if they're on the lighter side. You've got to have a really, really good dose of some of those. So some snow showers could be possible. We'll have to see. We're still a ways out. What about our historical chances? Just looking over the past 30 years, these are the chances of a white Christmas. Now, quick catch to this. This is 1 inch of snow on the ground. Either an inch fell for Christmas Day, or there was a lingering 1 inch of snow still for Christmas morning. Let's take a closer look. You either got to go north, or you've got to go higher in elevation. For example, that weather setup that we were talking about at the beginning, notice how the west coast, the jet stream's way off to the north. However, the mountains, of course, are going to be white because they've already been getting several feet of snow. So you either got to go up, or you got to go north. In Indiana, there's a chance, but it is on the lower side. There's at least about a 10% chance once you get towards Jasper or just north of Clarksville, New Albany, and Scottsburg, Bloomington. We're in that 10 to 25% chance. Indianapolis, we're in that 26 to 40% chance, and getting close to almost a 50-50 shot in parts of northern Indiana. And this is kind of similar to what we're seeing in some of these patterns when we were talking about those chances for specifically this year. They're low, but they're not zero. We'll have to see. We'll continue to keep a very close eye as we head towards Christmas Day. It does look like the week before Christmas is going to be on the colder side, and that weekend before Christmas will also be on the colder side. If something could sneak in and dump some snow, it'd have to hold on, or you've got to get another system to come in real quick to try to get a couple extra snow showers. Those are some early thoughts. Thanks for joining with us. We wanted to give you a heads up on what we're seeing when it comes to chances for a white Christmas here in Indiana.